Well, we finally made it to the end of our segment of our Toy Biz Uncanny X-Men line. First, we looked at the villains, then we looked at the heroes, now we're looking at the playsets and the vehicles. We already looked at the Sentinel, so you can check out that video. I just have him here for show to include him in what was available in this line. And we won't be going through him in detail. You can check out that video. I have one over here that was just missed the line by coming out in 95, but it's really important. I'll get into that. And we have another one that I don't have that also missed the line that I'll have an honorable mention for. But we're going to be going through everything that was available from 1990 to 1994. So let's check them out and have a little bit of fun. We're going to start with Magneto's Magnetron, which was this little purple craft here. I think the sides came out a little bit to make it a little bit more colorful and expansive. That was really it here. You had these discs, there were 3 of them, and they could stick on different little magnetic points around the craft, and under the craft too, there were little magnetic points. Other than that, you had this turret that kind of went up and down. That was really it. And the way it functioned is you put a disc here, you pull this lever back, and it would shoot the little magnetic disc, and that was the extent of it for Magneto. It never made it onto the show. He is very difficult to get into this car. These vehicles were designed not with the intent of actually putting the characters in them. I think they were an afterthought, because you bend his legs and you try to sneak him in here, and his butt clips on the back seat, and there's no room to maneuver the legs, and this is pretty much as far as you're going to get him without like massively scraping the paint on the figure and ending up with a really damaged character. It was kind of an afterthought. It sucks that they designed it that way, but they're gone. They can't hurt you anymore, Toy Biz. So this was a bad design. They should have been able to release this and lift it up and then close it, but that is not how they did it. So the next vehicle we have Wolverine's cycle here. This actually did make it out of the show. On the X-Men 97, you can look in the garage. It was kind of a little Easter egg toward the end. Now this one had these claw arms that came out. The claws retracted and extended, and they could maneuver around here. You had all these chrome detailed pieces. You had the working wheels, and you have this switch on here, right here, which doesn't work for me anymore because the way it worked is there's a rubber band connected to it. The rubber band dried up and cracked and broke, but when you would flick the switch, it would turn from the Wolverine face, because who doesn't have a motorcycle with their face on it, to this little, I guess, robotic cat kind of character here. So that was basically the cycle there. Again, you could put Wolverine on the cycle, but he's not going to have like the best pose. You can bend his legs a little bit, and it's going to look a lot better than Magneto. But again, these weren't really designed with these characters at the time to make it convenient to have a character on here. It's just the toys did not line up with the vehicle line. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty close to the best you're going to get. I mean, he doesn't have, his hands are facing the wrong way even to grab onto the handlebars. So it's really clunky and awkward, but that's just the way it was designed back then. But you could buy this and go along with your character and enhance the play a little bit. The last vehicle I want to show you wasn't part of the Uncanny X-Men line. It came out in 95 or 96, so it just missed that 94 cutoff. And this one is very closely resembling the animated series, and that's going to be Wolverine's Jeep. So it has a lot of fun features. It has these tires that come out with the little blades on all 4 tires, so you could spin and attack other cars. The back has this little grappling hook thingy here that can grab bad guys. This fires out here, and you could grab bad guys with it as well. And these come off if you don't want that look and you want to look cleaner to the show. You have the steering wheel here that if you push the button, the front opens up, and it allows you to scoop up bad guys into this little device here. You can see that turning with the wheels as they go. So again, another little fun feature that wasn't in the show, but you know, just a little enhancing the play. This one will much easier fit anybody you want here. I'll try retracting his claws first. My suggestion would be to do the street clothes Wolverine, which we checked out last week. So you could look at that figure just to see what I mean. But he was more synonymous with this vehicle in the series, and you could see he could fit a lot better in here. So street clothes Wolverine will be able to display in here with the character, or with the vehicle a little better, and for that scene. But it's a cool vehicle. Just kind of missed the end of this line by a little bit, and it came in that sort of transition period to the new figures. So that is the end of the ground-based vehicles. We're going to look at some shuttles right now and some flying vehicles. So here we go. We're going to start with our flying vehicles, and this is the mini jet. The mini jet was featured a ton on the series. You often see one of the X-Men taking off on their own in one of these jets, and essentially it looks like a mini version of the Blackbird, but it's not the Blackbird. It's the mini jet. You would pull this here to get the canopy to open. You'd put your character in, and then you could close it, and then that's basically it. I mean, the guy would fly off, and they had a fun feature of an ejection sequence. So you could pull this to open that, you pull it back more, and then the character would pop out with an ejection seat. So fun little feature. We loved ejection seats. Some stickers in there for the control panels. That was really it. Very simple, very elegant craft here. And that was really it for the like the non-bigger ships, because the only other one we have is going to be the Blackbird, which was one of the coolest toys Playmates made. So you have the Blackbird here, and it doubled as not only a jet, but as a playset. So you can see the landing gear on the bottom. This part came up, and you could move it around and fire these missiles out. So pretty cool. It was the 90s, as I keep saying. We had a lot of toys that fired missiles. So those sat back in, and then it broke apart into 3 sections. So you had the forward section, which was just for the pilot to fit in there. So you could see you could put a character in there, and you could use it as a ground vehicle, basically. You had the mid section, which became a command module. So this one would separate out like this. And then you had the rear section that doesn't want to separate at all right now. Yep, always when I'm trying to do something here, guys. Here we go. Okay, the rear section that came out. The middle section, you could see it extended. In this section opened here. If you can find a little control here. This rotated out. This expanded here. It's hard to do this when I'm facing the opposite direction. But yeah, you can see how all this sort of opened up. There was a little support here. So now you have your command module. You had a character in the chair. You could have the missiles come up and be like a ground defense system or something like that. And this sort of was just the expansive way of doing this little mini base you could create. So it was kind of cool. And then you got the back part of the jet became its own little vehicle as well. It had these 2 tailpipes that came out. You could sit a character in there, and it had an ejection seat. So the ejection seat, again, let me see if I get this hooked in there. Poor Cyclops, he's going to be my example for all this. Sits in here, piloting his weird ground vehicle. I don't know if this was supposed to fly or not. It had the tailpipes that came out, and then the ejection. Whoop, there, that one missed him. You had to be kind of spot on the ejection seat in order to get it to work. Like, you had to be sitting right on it. Let's see if I get him positioned. There we go. There we go. So a little ejection. But that was the essentially the Blackbird. And then you could reset everything here. Put the center part away, tuck up the flap, connect the chair back to the base, tuck in the module here, close it, slide this in, and get the front part, slide back in, and then you're good to go. You got your ship. So you could put someone in here, someone in here. I don't think you can fit anyone in the back because of the guns when they're down. So you can fit like 2 in here. Not ideal for what we see in the show, but it was still pretty cool. And at the time, it was quite amazing. So that is your Blackbird. And it's our transition from vehicles into playsets. All right, well, we have our danger room here. Well, this is the one with Wolverine. The way this worked is you would twirl him back and forth on this stand, and he could fight this little danger bot here that had all these different ends on it and this retracting knife. So you can move him along here as he did that. You can take him over here and get him to sort of hit the Magneto. Man, this one has a lot of resistance in it. The panel would go and he would be able to hit the Magneto there. This is, like I said, pretty old and was designed more of an afterthought than an actual piece for the character. This would slide away. So he could be behind bars. You could make it a little bit more difficult to try to just hit him right here in his behind the bars here. And let's see if I can do that. I have to adjust this arm a little bit. It's a little too high. And you can try to peek him in there. I can't. It's harder. So we'll take him over here now to the as he continuously falls. He did not stay well on this stand, as I recall. You had to like really get him into the pegs. And then the last thing you could do is with your Wolverine, you could take him over here, and he could, if he would turn and he would strike the wall here and make the wall fall. So it doesn't work the best for me right now. These holes were just a little bit bigger or smaller than they need to be to really accommodate him on here. And that was like, again, I made this point of saying like these seem to have been designed as an afterthought and not alongside the product that when it came out, which is weird because they came out around the same time as the product. But they don't, it's really hard to get him on there. Once you do, it'll work a little bit better. And then it was kind of like it didn't always quite catch to make the character turn. So it was just, I don't know why. I tried taking it apart and looking at it, I couldn't figure that out. But you get him in there, there we go. And you make him attack and do different things here. And that was the Wolverine side of the Danger Room. And there was one more playset that came out, and that is the Cyclops side of the Danger Room. So the Cyclops one here, you got your little character, and he had little stations where he could attack different characters. So we have Magneto, we have some things he could blow up. So right here, you can see that he makes the bricks explode with his beam. It's this little action trigger here. He comes over here, you can point it at Magneto. You can shoot Magneto, and then you come over here to the wall, and you can make the entire wall destroy. This one worked a lot better, but you didn't have to move the character. You just kind of imagined, which was really cool, because if you line this up, you see right here, when you push the button to fire his beam, it would hit the button right here because it lines up perfectly, and the beam would go off as you're making things explode. So that was really well designed. I will give them an A on that one. Not so much on this one, though. This was a poor design here. The only other element I will point out that came with these playsets were these little yellow hooks. And what they did is you put them underneath the corner of the playset, and you were able to hook them together. So like I could put this here and hook it to this one. I'm not quite sure. Back to back wouldn't work. I think you had to maybe... I don't really know the neatest way of doing this, as Cyclops would be here. My guess is going to be right here. Let's see here. Corner to corner, I would think, maybe. Like this. Let's see. Yeah. It was not easy. But basically, it would sit on there, and then it would connect, and you would get it corner to corner. And then you'd have the playsets sort of intertwined like this. There we go. And you'd have them intertwined, and then you could imagine it's a continuous danger zone. Maybe they had designed it in the past to have more, and you could build this out. Maybe not, but this wasn't the easiest way to fit them together. But these were your danger zone, your danger rooms, essentially. There was one more, and I'll put it up here on the screen. I don't have it. This came out in, well, actually, I do have it. I can't find it. It's somewhere. It came out in 95, 96 timeframe. It all folded up into this little circular cylindrical unit, and it was more of just the danger room. It had like a central panel. It had a viewing area for Professor X. It had places where you could lock up other characters and battle other characters. It had spike balls and rocket firing things, all sorts of things, and it was more of an ultimate danger room than these individual little sets. So that was the other playset that would go with your Uncanny X-Men figures, but like I said, it just missed the time frame of 1994, so it wasn't really part of that Uncanny X-Men line. And that concludes our look at the Toy Biz Uncanny X-Men line vehicles and playsets, and that concludes our look at the entire Uncanny X-Men Toy Biz line from 1990 to 1994. Of course, there were other series that came out after Uncanny X-Men ended. There was the Mutant Genesis line that came out immediately preceding that. The X-Force line ran in parallel to that, continued on to, I think, 96. And then there were all sorts of other ones, Mutant Battlers and whatnot, Hydro, Water Wars, and all sorts of crazy variants and whatnot, but it lost its original charm. The figures stopped looking like this and completely changed. So we're focusing on that original line that sort of ran congruent to the animated series and captured a lot of that into the vehicles, as you saw with Wolverine's Jeep and the Blackbird and this awesome Sentinel. So yeah, this is essentially the end of the line between these three videos. You saw it all. I hope you enjoyed it. Curious to know what was your favorite vehicle from this segment and playset and what you liked the least. But these are awesome. They'll be timeless forever, and I hope we get to see re-releases from Hasbro. They have been releasing in the Marvel Legends line with this packaging, as I showed you all the packaging in the last two videos. Maybe we'll get a retro throwback re-release of the Blackbird, which would be really cool because that could be quite expensive on the secondary market. So that is all for now. Next month, we're going to be looking at retro, well, vintage, I guess, Fantastic Four figures from 1994 to 1996 that ran alongside the show at the time. That was part of the Marvel Action Hour. Those are pretty awesome. We're going to be checking out all of those, and I'll compare a couple of them back to their counterparts from the 1990 Marvel Superheroes line, which was the first Toy Biz Marvel line, and which was among the earliest Marvel toys ever. The only line that existed before that was the Mattel Secret Wars line. Those were actually the first Marvel action figures, and that was in the late 80s, so nothing before that, surprisingly. So we'll be taking a look at those as well. If you're watching this video, I'm going to give you a sneak peek for Friday. We're going to have a special giveaway announcement, so tune back on Friday for that video. You're the first to know. That's going to be sponsored by Playmates Toys. So yes, shocker, it's going to be in the TMNT line, so we'll be giving away some figures there. I'm going to be giving an entire wave of figures away, so tune in for that one. So that is all for this time. Like, subscribe, and follow. See you guys next time.